The camera really feels like another character in this project because they use it in so many different ways to represent the internal struggles that he's dealing with, and I think that it really worked well. Hey, it's Kristen, and today we're going to be talking about a new film called Words on Bathroom Walls. This project is based on the novel of the same name by Julia Walton, and it stars Charlie Plummer, Taylor Russell, Anna Sophia Robb, and Devin Bostick, and features music by the Chainsmokers. And this story is about a teenager diagnosed with schizophrenia who has dreams of becoming a chef. He ends up going to a new school and making a connection with a girl who inspires him to not be defined by his condition. Consider subscribing if you like my videos, and drop down in the comments and let me know your thoughts on Words on Bathroom Walls. Have you read the book? Are you interested in this film? Can't wait to hear what you guys think. I have to say, I think they do a really great job setting up this film and introducing us to our main character. Charlie Plummer is a really dynamic actor, and I think throughout the film we really get to see him test his limits. And there's one scene in particular where we see him sort of at the peak of his schizophrenia, and he really goes there. And I was just really impressed by his performance. I also think that the visuals in this film are really well done. The camera work is really cinematic. When the character of Adam is in the middle of one of his sort of schizophrenic episodes, you really get to see the world around him transforming. Things start kind of floating in the air and moving around, and it looks like we're about to get into some sort of like sci-fi action flick, but really they're using this to represent the internal struggles that he's dealing with, and I think that it really worked well. And the camera really feels like another character in this project because they use it in so many different ways in order to represent how the story is told in the book, which is that the character is telling his story through sort of like journal entries to a therapist, and the reader is sort of that therapist. We see the main character Adam telling his story to the camera as if that is the therapist, aka we as the viewer of the film are his therapist following the story. At times there's like shaky camera work to represent the shakiness and like paranoia that he's feeling, and I think visually they just continue to show throughout the film how progressively paranoid and manic he is becoming, and they show that through the camera work and the visuals that we see on screen. He has a unique sort of schizophrenia where he's actually able to see physical people that sort of represent the things that he's dealing with on the inside. There's a character, Rebecca, that's supposed to represent the calm, like, let's relax, we can get through this type of voice in his head. Joaquin is sort of like his teenage inner monologue. The bodyguard is sort of like this protector, and then the darkness that he starts to see is his insecurities coming forward. And while I admit I wish they did a little bit more with these characters in his head, I do think that they did do a great job in representing sort of what Adam's going through and what he's feeling. I think they tackle the storylines of mental health and mental illness in a very relatable way. Our character wants to keep it a secret. He doesn't want people to know what he's going through. We see him struggle with denial, feeling like he's never going to get better. We see him starting to take medication and things starting to work out, and then the side effects of that medication start to make him feel even worse, and he starts to question everything. They really dive into the concept of someone understanding that they are not the illness, they have an illness, and being able to differentiate those ideas. What happens when you have these dreams that you feel like you can't achieve because something like mental health is holding you back? They also discuss the idea of listening to the bad thoughts in your head that you have about yourself and trying to break away from that, and also the idea that there are people in your life that you can rely on that can hopefully help you get out of these dark places. They're not saying that these people will fix you or heal you, but just the idea is that there are people that you can lean on and that are there for you, that love you. I think that they really dive into some really interesting topics. Something that they didn't dive into that this project just made me think of is, like, you know, our main character is a straight white guy dealing with all these mental health issues, but what if he wasn't? What if he was a queer person or a person of color? It just made me think about how different the story would have been. In this story, he's offered a lot of help, and I think it would have been interesting to also see from another perspective, you know, what that situation could have been like if he wasn't so privileged. I will say, as they were tackling all of this in the first half of the film, I really enjoyed the story. I thought that they were really taking it to another level. I think Charlie Plummer's performance was excellent, and I was like, is this gonna be one of my favorite new films of 2020? But as the story went on, it felt like it actually changed genres in a way. Like, the first half felt like a more serious drama, and then about halfway, maybe like 2/3 of the way through the film, it sort of became this like cliche high school story, and it honestly felt like two different stories kind of put together. And I will be honest, I didn't really love how the film ended. It just felt like super cliche to me. I also gotta admit, I don't really get what the title of this film has to do with the actual subject. I just feel like Words on Bathroom Walls makes it sound like a rumor went around about someone and they're writing about him on bathroom walls or something, and that's not anything related to this at all, so I didn't really understand the connection there. When it comes down to it, I think the first half of this film was very solid. It was raw, it was real, and I loved the direction that they were going in. I think as the film went on, it became a high school cliche that I wasn't expecting, and I don't think that it fully connected with the beginning half of the story. I do think that Charlie Plummer went to some great places in his acting, and like I said, the cinematography, the camera work, the visuals, the special effects and graphics I think were really great. I think they could have dove a bit deeper into the individual personifications that our character Adam is seeing in his head, and I think that they could have just done something different with the ending. It felt like we were going on this very different journey, and then it kind of just like fell off. If you guys like this one, you can check out more of my movie reviews right over here, and I will catch you in my next video. See ya!